Hey there, Kansas City. Stephen St. John here, the host of Hot Mic with SSJ. And I remind you that you should subscribe and like on YouTube and download the podcast wherever you download your favorite podcast, Spotify, Apple, all that good stuff. And so now it's time for another episode of Hot Mic with SSJ. And we're going to talk a little music for this episode. No Duck Duck Go with Jake, so we'll have to wait at least a couple of more episodes for that. But we have a couple of local musicians in studio with us to talk about an upcoming show that's presented by Sports Radio 810 WHB. Let's start. State your name and your rank and your affiliation. Tell people who you are, sir.
I'm Mike Bransfield, also known as Sumo from the band Dolomite, Capricorn. No, that's not true.
What a raspy fucking voice you have.
Man, we in the business we call it Fleet Week. I had a busy weekend.
Yeah,
and I coming off a little cold.
That's all right though. You're here and you're ready to talk about music with us. And here to my left is a young man by the name of, well, what's your name? Just state your wonderful name, please.
My name is Richie St. John.
Don't try to make your voice deeper than it really is. Fuck that. My name is Richie St. John.
You have to make a switch for the radio.
Right. So, what do you do, sir?
I currently play guitar and sing in the band The Accidental Moguls.
Right.
Who's going to be opening up for Dolomite for this show.
And you're also my son.
Mm-hmm.
Is that right?
Yep.
How long you been my son?
About 24 years, almost 25.
Unbelievable. And so, Sumo, would you rather be called Sumo or Mike on this podcast?
No, Cecilia's preferred,
okay,
but
Celia.
Sumo's fun. I mean,
Cecilia. So let's start with the show.
Okay.
We'll mention this a couple of times. Coming up the night before Thanksgiving, which is traditionally a fun night to go out and have some fun. We're doing a Sports Radio 810 Presents concert at the Uptown Theater, which is just a fabulous venue to go see live music. I'm trying to think some of the best concerts I've been to. Maybe the best one that we've attended together was when we saw Tenacious D at the Uptown. Would that be number one?
Oh, yeah. I mean,
think so.
They never disappoint anyway.
Right. Tenacious D was fantastic at the Uptown, but I've seen many, many shows there that were terrific, and I'm so excited to see my good friend Sumo and my son Richie playing at the Uptown. Sumo, you ever played at the Uptown?
No, I've never played there. I've seen lots of shows there. I slept through a lot of shows there.
Right.
But no, man, we're completely stoked for it. This is probably one of the it is the biggest thing we've tried to pull off in our 15 years of showing our ass in front of people.
Right. So if you're a local musician, certainly this is on the bucket list.
Yeah, this is a dream kind of gig. This is definitely one to look forward to.
Okay, so to give people the particulars, like I said, it's the night before Thanksgiving. Our friends at CBD American Shaman are helping us bring this to you on the night before Thanksgiving. And so tell people if they want to come out and be a part of the show. Dolomite shows are always interactive. They're so much fun. And, of course, you've got an opening act as well in the Accidental Moguls. How can people get involved?
Man, yeah, we just need to see people with, loose morals and comfortable shoes. We're going to have fun.
Right.
We've played this night, for years, and it's always just been a fun night. It's usually a good chance for the people that, leave town. They come home. They get together. It's kind of a reunion of sorts. And this will be the first time we're doing it down here. And we're looking forward to it. But, yeah, I mean, the doors are at 7. I think you guys are going to take the stage at 8, if I'm not mistaken.
I think that's about the time.
Yeah, and then we're going to go on probably about 9, and the show should wrap about 11:30. Mm-hmm. So it's not going to be a late night, so no one has to really worry about being a tryptophan zombie the next day,
right,
around the straits.
But you can buy tickets now.
Yeah, Ticketmaster, you can buy tickets now. Pre-sell them. They're going to be a little cheaper if you buy them in advance. I think they go up $5 each. There's a GA floor ticket that's basically just go nuts. I think it's $15. And then 20 you can get up in the balcony. The balcony's a VIP. You got a chance to sit down if you want, and they've got a different bar up there, so you cut your line time.
Right. Shorter lines and a good view in the VIPs. You could buy those tickets at Ticketmaster. And then, of course, if you don't get a chance to buy tickets, if you're like my dad and you still haven't figured out the ways of a debit card, then you could just show up and buy tickets at the door, right?
Yeah, Pony Express. We'll send a Raven, an Abacus, whatever you need.
Right.
Yeah.
That's my dad. Why don't you have a debit card? Why do I need one? Like, okay, I'm done with this conversation. So you mentioned that this has been traditionally a night that you do the show, a big show, the night before Thanksgiving. Let's go back to the origin story of Dolomite. You usually have done this show up in St. Joe. You guys originally a St. Joe band.
Right.
So take me back to the beginning of Dolomite. How did this all happen? How did this idea come about? How long have you guys been together? Give us everything we need to know.
Well, we were the majority of us were all in a band together in our teenage years back in the 90s. It was called Planet B, and it was like a funk hip hop thing.
Planet B.
Planet B. It was good. I mean, it had some successes. We had, we didn't really get on tour or anything, but we had a big following around here, and we got to play. We played a lot of shows down in KC with the band Billy Goat. You remember Billy Goat?
Right.
Those were some nutty fucking times. I remember after we played, I was completely drenched in sweat. I was wearing like dicky pants, which are breathable as fuck, right. And a black T-shirt. And I'm sitting there in the front row, and they used to throw shit at their shows. They throw out like ramen noodles and flour and shit. And I was sitting there right in the front row, and the dancer had the flour bag open. She was getting ready to launch it over the crowd, and she dropped it, and it landed right on my big fat fucking ass.
Nice and sweaty.
Dude, I turned into a fucking biscuit. It was just fucking sweat and flour. I'm sitting there, I'm like, this is how I get laid tonight.
Right.
I'm looking like a fucking uncooked dumpling.
With tremendous filling.
Yes. Yeah.
And so, how old were you when you
18.
But when you started, like when you first became a musician or started to become a
18
musician?
years old. I had no inkling that I had anything in me musically whatsoever. I never even was in like a choir at school.
So then why? What happened?
Girls.
Right?
No, I mean
The greatest motivator.
Yeah, I mean the radio was always my favorite toy. It was my favorite thing I played with in the bedroom as a kid. I had a little, handheld tape recorder, with Van Halen and shit. And I loved music, but I just never thought it was for me. I just thought I was a fan. And I want to say it was the summer I turned 18. I just moved out, and I was going to a concert with some friends, and I was singing along in the car. And one of these kids was in a band with another friend of mine that was a singer that was split in town. He was moving to Seattle. And the guy reached out to me. He's like, "Hey, we heard you singing in the car. I want you to come try out for the band." And I'm like, "Get fucked."
Oh, no shit.
I'm like, "You're high. It ain't gonna happen. No way."
Was he in fact high?
No.
Okay, well, just
Yeah.
legitimate question.
Yeah. No. True.
Right.
You're searching for facts. I admire that. No, he wasn't high, and he asked me, and I'm like, "No, fuck yourself. It's not gonna happen." And my girlfriend at the time was like, "What's happening?" And I'm like, "Shit." So I got a little pressure from the friends, and everybody talked me into doing it. So I went down to this house and tried out, sang a couple songs that, I happen to know the words to, some covers and shit, like Alice in Chains song or something, and they've hired me. So I was in this damn band. I think we played our first show like 8 days later. I had all the lyrics on like a big cheap fucking tablet.
So were you going to be the lead singer?
Yeah, I was the lead singer.
Just like that?
Yeah, it was fucked. It was totally fucked. No reason that should have worked at all.
So, do you remember, the first show? How many
first
songs
fucking
did
show.
you have to fucking do then?
I don't remember that, but I remember it was 8 days after I joined the band.
It was a lot of shit, though.
Yeah, and it was in this fucking basement of this skeezy church because we were all kids, so it's not like we do shows at a bar.
Right.
A bunch of local bands threw on this. It was probably something like Local Palooza because back then you couldn't use Palooza enough.
Right. St. Joe Palooza.
Yeah, fucking RB Palooza. We got the lead. So I go down and I'm scared shitless, and like I said, I've got this little fucking notepad with all my lyrics on there, and it was almost like. Remember the story of the Doors where you did that first show, like facing away from the crowd?
Sure.
I fucking felt it. I was like, man, I was shitting bricks. And, there was tens of people there. So it was fucking, my moment.
Like, did you know most of them? Were they
No,
people?
I didn't. I knew quite a few, but this was, baptism by fire. It was me also meeting a bunch of this scene that I had no idea existed. I didn't know there was that much music in St. Joe.
Right.
And there's a lot. I mean, St. Joe, you can fight, fucking pray. That's it. So, or learn how to play music.
Right. That's one hell of a Saturday night, by the way. When I used to attend Missouri Western State University, that was a great Saturday night.
We do all three.
Right? Absolutely.
But, I mean, there wasn't a lot for the youth of St. Joe to do, so a lot of them got together and formed bands and woodshed it up and got real good at their craft. There's a lot of really good players up there, and there's the long line of it. I had no idea. I was completely ignorant to it, but here I am. I find myself in this new society, and that show went good. We had another few shows. That went good. That band, I think we recorded like 2 records, tapes, and put them out. It was had some little successes, some wins. It wasn't bad by any stretch. But then
and this was Planet B?
No, this was another band called
was this?
Ball. It was like a grungy BAWL. We were edgy.
Ball.
Fucking Ball.
I like
Yeah. And it was me learning what to do and not to do. I mean, it was good. They're good players. My songwriting was a little dodgy at best.
You still talk to any of the guys from Ball?
I talked to a few of them. We even we got together in some different iterations, and played here or there. But yeah, that one was the first. And then I had these other friends that, the ball thing, I had these friends that ended up being the bass player for Dolomite and the DJ for Dolomite. They wanted to come and do a rap song with us. So we learned the music to this rap song. They came and performed it. And that one, I was like, this has got the energy. This feels good. I wasn't a big rap guy, but that energy, doing that live, it felt cool.
So when did you start playing drums?
Not until I was 30.
Oh, so you were just...
Yeah, I was just a singer. I didn't play any instruments.
That's crazy.
So I became one of 3 singers for Planet B. There was a 3 vocalist lineup, same guitar player and bass player as Dolomite, and it was me and the DJ vocalist from Dolomite, and then we had a different drummer. And then that went for 2 or 3 years. It went good. And then it kind of broke off. I don't remember exactly how it kind of split. I think the DJ moved down here first. He moved to Kansas City and was working, so it was less frequent for him to be available for practice and gigs.
And what year are we talking about?
96,
okay.
97 maybe. And then I took a job down here. I got on the radio station.
Which radio station?
It was 107.3 The X. I was neighbors to the old, your old KCTE building.
Right. When we were Sports Radio 1510, we shared a building in Independence off 27th and Sterling.
It was fucking on Rock Block, man. It was in the hood. Some nasty shit went down in that building for me, man.
Yes. Well, we're going to get to that.
Okay.
So we'll pause. So that's like 1996.
96.
Young man was born, right? And so different paths. So take me. Yeah, right. Yeah, he was
That'll
born
make you feel young.
Christmas Day in 1996. And so from your recollection, Richie, when did you first start? When did your interest in music start?
Well, just my interest in music in general, probably was always there. I grew up with, you playing all your favorite music from Elvis, Guns N' Roses, etc. So I was always around it, and you would always profess your love and passion about music and how much things meant to you.
And see, people would ask me, does he get his musical talent from you? No. But you got your love of music from me.
Absolutely.
And your grandmother and your mom and me. We would always, Grandma loved Elvis, right?
Oh,
so
yeah.
you knew you were going to listen to a lot of Elvis, Guns N' Roses, on down the line, White Stripes eventually. And so what I've always really liked about you and your brother and everything, and then nothing wrong with current music, whatever, but you were especially an old soul. You like the music I like. Mm-hmm. You like to listen to Elvis. You like to listen to Sinatra. You like to listen. I remember when you graduated from high school, 2-year presents where we went to see Neil Diamond and then Billy Joel. Guys that we just,
Fuck Billy Joel.
Right. Oh, wow. Hold on here.
We can tell that story later.
Oh, wow. A lot of venom in
Unbelievable.
that.
But the point is, you liked music that that someone my age would be, so we were able to share those things. And so from what I remember, so then you started in piano lessons at St. Gabe's was it 3rd grade?
Yeah, I believe it was.
So my mom, your grandmother, who passed away in 2006, she got you signed up in piano lessons, right? And we'd go to these recitals at your teacher's house and little churches and stuff. And he was good, but I could start to tell he wasn't liking it. And it was weird. He was being forced to do this and playing,
Yeah.
And my mom would always pull me aside and say, whatever you do, don't let him quit music because he's got a talent for it. I can tell. And I said, okay, Mom, all right, I won't. I promise that. But then when, she passes away and you're 9 years old, I kind of, stick to my guns. Like, hey, she wanted me to make you stick with music, and let's stick with music. And you didn't want to stick with music, or at least the music you were playing. And he used to play basketball at the Pack Center in Parkville off 9 Highway. And we'd always pass School of Rock over there. And we'd always wonder, I wonder what that's all about. I want, maybe we should check that out. And so I remember we go in there, me and your mom and you, and they give us a tour, and they say, he'll play Guns N' Roses, he'll play Metallica, this, that, and your eyes just light. My eyes lit up. Your eyes lit up. And then they showed us the tuition, and then my eyes closed, and I shit my pants.
Yes.
But I pulled his mom aside. We leave, and we say, and I was just kind of finding my way in my career then. Wasn't making a whole lot of money, and I told her, I said, we got to do this, and we'll make it work. We'll figure out a way to make it work. Financially, this doesn't make sense to us, but I see that he wants to do this, and I think this could be a big moment for him as a kid. we're going to fucking make this happen. And so from there, right, you go to School of Rock. How did that change you as far as your appreciation for music and wanting to be a musician?
Well, the appreciation was always there,
Right.
I think that all started when you dressed me up as Elvis when I was like, what, a 1-year-old?
Yeah. Oh, he had the karate suit and the scarf. And
Little Bruno
wig,
Mars.
everything.
Little sideburns or whatever. That's great. He was probably tormented by it. But look at it, he carried around this little Elvis.
Come dance for the people, Richie.
Right. That's exactly. Yeah. Yes. And if we got pictures, I'll pull them out at some point.
Oh, I know you
Right.
do.
So you're there and you start to develop. And that time you were just piano and just keyboard. But that allowed you to perform on stage, like in front of people in nightclubs and stuff, where things would be set up at School of Rock, and so kids could be there and perform for the parents. And it was a really cool thing that some kids and for people, not spoiler, he's a teacher now at School of Rock. Some kids take to the stage, or some kids like, hey, this ain't for them, and that's fine. It's not for everybody, but you right off the bat were very comfortable on stage and comfortable performing.
Right. So I sort of the timeline here is like you said, with my piano lessons, I started to get tired of them. Right. At first, it was this new and really interesting thing, and I was excited for it, but it was just, workbooks and exercise sheets and just that boring classical stuff over and over, which nothing wrong with classical music, but I wasn't even doing that. It was just exercise and exercises.
Hot cross buns.
Yeah, just
hot cross buns, which is a
to
fine
tea,
song,
just
right?
over and over, day in, day out, just, But there towards the end, if you remember from my last recital, I didn't want to do anything like that. I begged my teacher to let me do Bohemian Rhapsody on the piano, if you remember that.
Yes.
Yeah. So I begged her to do it, and she let me by some miracle. And then, I learned most of that and got to perform it.
And how old were you, like, at that point? He was young enough to where he was like, we got something here. What's going on? And that's not normal. And you didn't have to read music. You would just listen to something and you could play it.
Right. I was
batshit crazy.
A lot of times I was more comfortable hearing it than I was reading it.
Right.
Because reading is a whole thing that you have to learn. But I could just say, oh, this sounds like that sound. Done. And I figured it out.
Right. And it would just irritate me because not irritate, but I can't play shit.
Yeah.
There's nothing I can do. And he would just listen. Like, oh, okay. I go,
But after that, I was like, okay, this is the type of music I definitely want to play. And when that happened, because I don't know how much time I actually took off from music, but that had to be in 6th or 7th grade because I joined School of Rock in 8th grade.
Right. There was a little bit.
Right. Just a small
right.
gap. But, I went in there and like you said, they said I was going to be playing all this music that I actually liked, that I was actually motivated to want to try and learn and to play. And on top of that, I was going to be playing live and sort of living out that rock star dream that everyone has. But, it was done from there, as soon as I stepped in, I feel like.
And ultimately, he auditioned for house band and played in house band, had a chance to travel around everywhere from Chillicothe down to Dallas, which is a pretty wide range. Right? Hey, probably won't mention Chillicothe and Dallas in the same sentence in any future podcast, but he took to it. It's always, I always say Richie's known what he's wanted to do since he's in 7th or 8th grade, which is a gift, right?
Right.
Most of us can't figure shit out until we're 25 or 30.
45.
So that gets you to School of Rock, and then you do so well at School of Rock. Then as soon as you graduate, which at 18 years old you're done as a student, they ask you to be a teacher. Well, you still are a teacher. Now let's go back to you because I find this fascinating. So you're singing, right?
Yeah.
And you're not playing any instruments. So
No.
how does it come up that you're 30 years old? Because I've always thought, man, to be able to learn an instrument, you got to do it when you're a kid. It's just too difficult when you're an adult, because that's why I wanted to go back and try to learn. It's like, there's no way I could do it, but maybe I should. But you're 30 years old. What makes you think that you want to start playing the drums?
I always wanted to play the drums. They fascinated me. I used to lay out pillows on my floor when I was a kid and, bash the shit out of Rocket Queen or whatever.
I used to lay out pillows on the floor and do something much different. We won't talk about it on the podcast, but go ahead.
The couch bounce.
Right. Hey. Right.
Yeah.
Getting hot in here.
Drums is always something I wanted to do. There was that whole getting your limbs to do independent shit of each other. It was always the kind of the hurdle. But after band practices, I'd be like, all right, get the fuck out of here. I'm going to bash around for a little bit. And I just kind of tinker until I kind of got the grips on it. But it was never really something that I did. I think by the time Planet B came around, I was playing bass on a couple of songs so the bass player could sing. And then I played drums on one song.
But did anyone teach you to play bass or drums, or are you just doing this all on your own?
No, just toying with it until I figured it out.
That's fucking wild.
There's only 4 strings. It's not that big a deal. Bass is cake.
See, I love like musicians
I'm
say
kidding.
that, like,
I'm
yeah,
kidding.
but like bass and drums, like just you do this, but to me, there's a gift that you have that others don't because it's just not that easy.
I don't know if I'd call it a gift, but yeah, I mean, there's certain proclivities people got for shit that others don't. I get that, but yeah, kind of like him, it was just I'd have to just fuck around with it until it started making sense and the noises came out the way I wanted them to.
Basically, what Mike is saying, any asshole can play the bass. Is
Yes,
that right? Okay,
bass,
that's what I want to make sure.
There's a reason. Right. There's a reason no band has had 2 of them. No, I'm kidding. A lot of bands have had 2.
Right.
But yeah, just kind of messing around with it, and then after Planet B kind of dissolved, I came down here. I'd lived down here full time, and I was at the radio for a couple years, and then that station flipped formats. We all got fired, and then I took a job at the Hurricane. I worked at the Hurricane down in Westport, which was the rock and roll heartbeat of this fucking city. So I was down there just getting crash courses.
What year was that when you were at the Hurricane?
99 to 07.
So what are some of the? Give me some of the bands or some of the musicians that you saw at the Hurricane that really stick out to you.
Dude, well, Biohazard played there one night. I thought I was going to die. It was the loudest shit I've ever heard. I was a bouncer that night.
That doesn't seem like a great experience that you thought you were going to die.
Dude, they brought so much shit. It was so loud. We threw out Joe Elliott from Def Leppard for pulling ladies' titties out over and over.
Well,
we warned him, though. We're like, hey, man, you can't do that to your mom or whatever.
You warned him, so that's, you know.
Yeah, the brothers from Pantera used to come in all the time and just hang out like on a Monday. It's fucking nuts. That place was crazy. What's his nuts? The dickhead from Alexi Lawless had a band.
Oh, wow.
Remember that?
Oh, sure.
Yeah.
Oh, absolutely.
He came in there thinking he was fucking Matchbox 30. That motherfucker thought he was he thought he was swinging, man.
Yeah.
And we all just politely let him have the night. But no, man, I saw so many great bands and so many great players. And, you know, there's so much talent that goes just unseen. You get these bands that roll in on a tour on a Tuesday night from fucking Michigan or Minnesota, and you're like, Jesus Christ!
Like how are they not?
Yeah,
stars,
and then
right?
you got some shit on the radio that you're like, good Christ, and then you see this on a Tuesday night in front of 8 people, and you're like, there's no justice in the world whatsoever.
And so this time, were you playing? While you were working
no,
the
I was kind of out. I take it back. I did start playing drums back then. There was a buddy of mine that worked there that had a punk rock band, and I started playing bass for him, and then his drummer quit. And then just to practice, I got back there and started fucking with the drums so we could keep up going while we were looking for a replacement.
Like at that point, how good were you? Were you good enough to where you felt like you could be a drummer?
Rock, man. See, we got to throw a disclaimer that while I played drums in a rap band and a punk band. So it wasn't, Rush.
Right.
So I'm not like the upper crust here on the talent spectrum.
Okay.
But yeah, I did this punk rock thing for him. It ended up being easier for me just to stick with the drums, and then his old bass player came back around. They were a perfect fit. He was way better than I was, so I did that band for I don't even think that one was a year, and then they moved to Phoenix, and they got signed out there, but I couldn't do it. I had just met my wife, and I was kind of enamored with that lady, so I stayed.
So when you met your wife, was she on board?
She was a fucking bass player.
Oh, so
no, I'm kidding.
So like, because that's a big part of it.
Well,
if who you're with is supporting this or not.
That's the problem is I wasn't playing when we first started dating. I was just a DJ, just nightclub
just
DJ,
a fucking radio guy.
No clubs.
These pieces of shit. I'm sorry.
I was the DJ in the nightclub.
So now you're a DJ. So you're a DJ now.
Yeah, I went from being the doorman. I found out what the DJs were getting paid, so I'm like, fucking, I'm gonna learn how to do that.
Fucking done it all. So what was your DJ name?
Sumo.
This DJ.
Yeah.
Okay, DJ Sumo. All right.
I was at the Hurricane DJing Westport for 4 or 5 years, but that's what I was when we started dating for the most part. Well, no, that was my only gig. And then I want to say we were together about 3 years, and a buddy of mine who was a touring drum tech, he's the reason I was sleeping through so many Uptown shows. He was on tour with 311 for like 7 years. So anytime they'd come to town, he'd be like, hey, I'm in town. I'm going to put you on the will call. Come hang out. After the show, we'll get on the bus and have some beers. I'm like, cool. I go up, sit in the very top of the Uptown Theater and sleep through the damn show because I'd seen it like 10 times.
Right.
And we'd hang out, and we always talked about, he was a drummer, and we should try to do something. We just love the same kind of music. So I was like, yeah. And he came back home. He's like, I'm back. I'm moving back. Let's start a band. And he had his brother was a fucking bass player.
Right. This is a recurring theme in this.
No, I love bass players. I've never
right.
had a bass player I didn't like. I don't know why I'm keying on him.
I like it, though. Keep doing it.
Yeah, it's a gag now. And they had an old guy they played with back in the day who was a real good guitar player. So we started that band, and I was a rhythm guitar player and lead vocals. And that was probably the band I was the proudest of the music that we wrote.
And what was that?
That was a band called Cadillac Order. And
Okay.
it was kind of heavy, riffy, kind of just stoner kind of riff rock with kind of more melodic vocals. It was good. I'll have to send you some of it.
That's quite a description. I'd like to hear that.
It was good, man. It was, and it was right around the time we were obsessed with, like, you know, Queens of the Stone Age and Thin Lizzy and a bunch of shit like that, a bunch of the stoner rock stuff, and it was just a lot like that from the inspirations, and that went for a good couple of years, and then I had moved back to St. Joe. I was going to go start a bar up there, so I got back in the bar industry up there and was kind of getting all these people, you know, bring back Planet B, let's do a show, and I was like, that's not a bad idea. And I'd always had this idea from DJing. I guess I'm getting all over the place here. I would be DJing. I'd see these cover bands coming through the hurricane and just making a shitload of money. And I was DJing. I never wanted to play any song twice throughout the night. So the beginning of my sets was always old school hip hop. I'd play all the old school shit. And it got to where that was starting to get just as popular as the heat of the night.
Right.
People started getting word, hey, you go early. It's kind of like rap school. So they were coming out and listening to these songs. And I was like, man, if a band could ever pull this off, it's going to be great, you know. But who could ever do that, you know? But it was always in my head. You know, I was always had this idea of trying that. So when I the Planet B thing started kind of coming back up to the surface, I was just talking to the guys. I'm like, you know, people would like to see a show, and I've always had this idea. What do you say we try to do this? And they're like, yeah, let's fucking do it. I say, but I don't want to be the fucking lead vocals anymore. I want to play drums. And they're like, fuck no. I'm like, it's rap. I can play fucking drums.
Right.
So I became the drummer, and then we reached out to who is now our lead vocalist, who was a bass player, a fucking bass player.
What the fuck?
Yeah, and another band that we used to play with all the time, Planet B. And we're like, hey, here's the idea. We're going to do these songs and throw a Halloween show. You in? He's like, yeah, somebody's going to have to burn them for me. I've never heard it. I was like,
So he was.
he's never heard the shit.
And what year is this?
Fucking 2006.
Okay.
Early 2006.
Okay.
So we got together. We were just practicing on Friday nights. You know, we'd get some beers and go to this. We had this shitty place downtown St. Joe that we could just be loud as late as we wanted. And we just kind of woodshedded on it until it got good. We wanted to make sure that we didn't do this shit in front of people until it was good. Like it had to be tight as a mosquito's ass or it was going to be a joke.
Right.
So we worked on it for probably 6-8 months before it saw the light of day. And then we put together this Halloween show. And my Cadillac Order opened, another band played, and then Dolomite played. And my fucking Cadillac Order guys were in the front of the stage, and I could just see it on their faces. They're like, well, been fucking nice knowing you. It's like, shit. So it just kind of took off. From Jump Street, it was like, what the fuck is this? You know, people just went nuts for it because there was really nothing like it. I mean, while it was a cover, you know, we still worked so hard to get the music. We kind of had to rewrite music to some of this shit.
What were the first songs that you remember you were doing?
Oh, man, it was like Tricky was big. Run DMC. Definitely Nothing But a G Thing because that's where the name of the band came from.
Yeah.
We the line in that song where he's like pimping hoes and clocking the grip like my name was Dolomite, the lead singer, he goes, I'm going to say Dolomite because we're honkies and that's funny. And I'm like, that's fucking great.
And that's how it happened.
That's got to be the fucking band name.
So right after you were Dolomite, right? There was
it was Dolomite from Jump Street, the most misunderstood and mispronounced and misspelled fucking name on the planet.
Every fucking time I talk about you, how do you spell it again? And it's never right.
There's no H
but
in
I got
there.
it right.
It's not 3 syllables.
And so
it is 3 syllables. It's not 2 syllables.
I remember the first time, and I'd heard about Dolomite and said, hey, you got to check this band out. A couple of people I went to high school with. You're going to love it. And I was doing a remote down in downtown Parkville, and you guys were playing at a festival down there, Parkville Days or whatever it was.
Yeah.
And I was at a cigar bar that had opened up down there.
That's the guy that hired us.
Right?
Yeah, that Mike
Phillips.
Mike Phillips. Yeah.
Great guy. And so I'm down there, and he's, hey,
I got to take a sip of my bone broth.
that's right. Oh shit! Is there any chicken feet in there?
Mm-hmm.
Sorry. Are we good? Okay. Was everything good? I just didn't. Okay. So we edit from here. Okay. So he tells me that you got to listen to this band we have playing tonight, Dolomite. You're gonna love them, and it's always more difficult to try to describe what you guys do. And I always say, you got to fucking watch them. Then you'll get it. You'll see. And I mean, as soon as I see you guys, I get this. This is graphic. A huge music boner. This is what I like. This is what I like, and I just can't. And I love it. And I'm beside myself. And then I start, going to watch you guys. I don't remember how we first started to talk or how we first became
we met.
friends.
It was a Super Bowl party.
Oh, was it?
Yeah, it was at the Voodoo Lounge.
Oh, that's right. Okay.
And you were the MC and the host, and we got to just chatting it up backstage and fucking click, man.
Yeah, and I came out and said, man, I've seen you a bunch of times, and you would listen to the show, and so we...
I was like, you gave me a sports boner.
There we go. So we had admired each other from afar, and then
we touched them together. We call that Chargers.
That's right. Or
LA
docking.
Chargers.
That's we consummated the relationship. Richie, thank you. And so, but then, and then, you know, to make a long story short, you played my 40th birthday party that I may or may not have been carried out of. But I've had so much. I don't know how many times have I seen you guys? 100 times maybe. And I've gone up and performed songs with you on a bunch of times. It's been fucking great, and we've become, our families are friends. And so then all along this, Richie is growing as a musician, and I'm thinking, you know, this is what he's going to do. And so let's pick up where you are at School of Rock. You start the first band that you're in. Well, there was a couple of bands that you were in first that didn't go very far. Do you remember what was with the kid that lived down by School of Rock that you were in?
That would be Scarlet View.
Scarlet View was. I like these. I love names of bands that didn't work out.
Oh, so, like right. Cloven Hoof and shit. You know?
Right. Scarlet View. How long were you in Scarlet View?
Not even long enough for me to remember.
Like half an hour or so, something like that.
Roughly.
Yeah, I mean, you had a couple of. I remember you guys played English Landing Park once or twice.
Yeah, which I believe they're still around. A different iteration, but they've survived through the years, I believe.
Hey, that's saying something. You were an original member. And so then after Scarlet View, was it right to Minor Rewind, or was there something in between?
I believe so. If I was part of any project, I definitely don't remember it.
So yeah, Maddie was the lead singer.
We had Maddie, Dax on the drums.
Andy.
We had Robert on the bass.
Was
and
a
then
fucking bass player.
Yeah,
bass player.
And
then you were keyboards.
But then we also had someone named Jacob in the band.
Boy, I don't remember
on
him.
the guitar. He was only there for a little bit when I first joined, but then he went off to Berklee School of Music in Boston.
And so you joined the band, and then you start playing all around Kansas City, and that's when you had graduated from high school. You had graduated from School of Rock. You were working at School of Rock, but here this was really your first gig as a musician. And so when you look back at that, were you thinking, hey, this is great, I love this is going to work? Like, how was that for you to be in your first professional band? Because you guys had all gone to music school together, and you guys had all graduated kind of at the same time. And so here you are trying to make it in the local music scene.
Well, performing itself wasn't that big of a jump, because that's something they do at School of Rock.
And
right?
you'd been performing since you were 8 or 9 years old. So
right.
Yeah, right.
You know, and piano recitals are one thing, but with School of Rock, you know, I was doing that from about 13, 14. They prep you to do live rock shows. You know, that's the whole point of it. You know, just like the movie. You know, to give someone sort of a basis to put it off of. But performing itself wasn't that crazy of a deal. You know, I was used to that. But doing it for your own sake and for your own name was another deal. You know, because all of a sudden it's not just, oh, you know, you're just part of School of Rock, you're just performing for your parents and that sort of thing. You know, for instance, we played at Nick and Nino's quite a lot in the early days. So we would be there, and we'd just be in a bar, and we'd be playing for random people, you know, and we can live and die by whatever happens. You know, maybe they'll kick us out, maybe they'll love us. I don't know. There's just not the same level of certainty.
You didn't have School of Rock backing you, and whereas you're there on your own. This is it.
Exposed.
If I totally screwed up at a School of Rock show, I would feel bad about it, but you know.
But at School of Rock, and
the teacher,
the parents, like,
they'd be I saw you did your best, and you know the teacher would be like, hey, buddy, you know, don't worry,
right.
you know.
screw up there, and then hey, fuck you.
We'll
guys
move you
suck.
to bass.
Yeah.
You'll be fine.
Yeah. All of a sudden, you know, you're not getting paid, or you know, you're not coming back, and you really put your neck out on the line. And that's just a different feeling.
And so, speaking of that, there would be times when you would play, basically just for the parents of the band members.
That would happen as well.
And so, are you, over the years, have you been more embarrassed by the amount of pictures that I take during a concert of yours, or when me and your mom get out there and start to dance quite suggestively and get after it on the dance floor? When you're up there, I've always wondered, when you're up there, because I'll see the fucking eye roll. Yeah. Like, I'll be up... You know, like, that's the last thing he fucking needs.
Duck face,
is
man.
my fat ass up there, just all kinds of right.
Solo.
And then you know, me and mom will get up there and start. I'm like, you know, we're having fun. We're not trying to embarrass you, but clearly there's sometimes he's like, oh. Fuck. So is that what's worse? Like when you're up there, wouldn't you see that? Because we're at all the shows and we're not afraid to get out there and you know and shake it on the dance floor. Is that something that like, hey, they're supporting me, this is helping me, I like this, or at some point you're like, get the fuck off the dance floor, mom and dad, please let me do this on my own?
Yeah, yeah, it's definitely something that, I roll about it because you'll go up because you were infamous for taking pictures, right? It doesn't matter what it is, even if it's just a normal family outing, just to the Olive Garden or something, 15 pictures at least.
Fuck do we go to the
It's
Olive
an
Garden?
example. It's an example.
You make me look bad. We go to Garozzo's. We don't go to fucking Olive Garden. But
It was the first thing that popped into my mind. Red Lobster. It's just, whatever.
Red Lobster? That's not what the fuck are you talking about? What do you say? Applebee's next. By the way, Applebee's, Red Lobster, Olive Garden. If you'd like to sponsor the show or advertise, clearly I've been to all of your delicious eateries, and let's talk.
I do like those Red Lobster biscuits, though.
The Cheddar Bay biscuits are delicious. Now go ahead.
Yeah, you're infamous for taking pictures. So that just kind of comes with the package. I expect that. And yeah, I roll about it. But when you're doing that, or when you and mom get out there and dance, I don't get embarrassed or upset about it. Because you're there, you're supporting me. Not everybody can say the same thing. Not even just in a musician's field, but just anything that they're doing. That maybe they don't have their parents backing. I at least have that. So it's yeah, it's like, oh, my parents are out there. 5 drinks in and dancing on the dance floor.
Well, we need to say all that, but hey, there's nothing wrong with that.
But you need someone to break the ice. Then that gets other people out there dancing.
We break the fuck out of the ice. I can tell you that.
Oh yeah. People don't have to worry about embarrassing themselves.
And that's usually your mom. She's always the first one on the dance floor.
Oh yeah,
you got to get out there with her. Right?
And she's good. You kind of scare people away a little bit, but she's good at getting people out there.
Right. I go out there. No one wants to fucking go out there. She gets out there. Hey, let's go on the dance floor. I go out there like, well, we're sitting down. Fuck him.
It turns into fucking Footloose, like the talent for no dancing.
That's exactly right. John Lithgow is like pounding a Bible at the fucking stage. And so then at some point, and I think it was up at St. Joe. They were playing up at St. Joe. I asked you, I said, hey, could you come out and watch them?
I think I saw him before play out the K.
Okay,
that was the first time I
that's
saw
right.
him.
Because you guys had a chance to play at some great venues through School of Rock.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
And I said, hey, the music scene. Could you talk to them, just give them some pointers or take a look and see? And you were always very kind because not all musicians do that. Not all musicians will actually share the advice or any experience that they have. And you came out and as friends, and you wanted to connect with Richie because he's my son. But you took time out of your schedule to come out there and just give them some pointers and try to help them, because it is a fucking tough thing, the music scene, to try to make it.
Yeah, and there's a lot of mistakes you can make without thinking twice about it. Stepping the wrong hole. But I saw that they clearly had talent. I mean, they were, compared to what I was when I was that fucking age, no goddamn way. I saw that when you guys, I don't know how old you were at the K that day, but you had to still be in school. You guys were babies.
Yeah, you were maybe 15 or 16 back then.
Oh yeah, if we're talking School of Rock, absolutely. The house band would play out there.
Yeah, you were putting pillows on. At 15, 16, me and Mike were both putting pillows on the fucking floor.
I was still doing shit in the couch. But no, I was impressed with him, and I could see that Richie especially had drive to take it seriously and make it a career. And of course, you guys were fucking supportive. Like, I have not seen many parents be that supportive. We've got one guy in our band that's been like a father to all of us. That's Tommy, Melissa's dad. He's been basically the lifeblood of the band behind the scenes forever, since the early 90s.
But that's cool to have that.
Yeah, it is cool. It's invaluable. And but yeah, I saw that bond you guys had and how you guys were so strong to back them. And it's not like I could give them a fucking magic wand or anything, but yeah, I just made myself available. If there's ever any introductions I can make in the places that we play, or if you got any questions, don't hesitate to reach out. But you could see they were on their way, definitely. So
let's get back, and we'll get back to how we ultimately end up the night before Thanksgiving with these both these bands playing at the Uptown, Dolomite and the Accidental Moguls. Take me back to when you were a DJ, when we shared a studio in Independence. And maybe you don't want to talk about this, but I feel like you let me know about this, so I think I need to bring this. And maybe this sells tickets. I don't know. There's a story about a trash can that I'd like to at least ask you about. What can you tell me about a trash can when you were a DJ? And what was the station again?
107.3 The X.
107.3 The X. What happened here?
Well, I was a baby. I started as an intern, a remote tech. I'd go out and set up the live broadcast shit, throw out CDs and T-shirts, and I just wanted to get on the air, but I
Right.
had to put in my time.
Same thing as me. You do whatever they wanted you
Yeah,
to
you
do.
drive
You
the
wanted
fucking-
to do it. I'm fucking going to work. I'm going to outwork everyone else. I want to get my foot in the door and then bust it down.
Yeah, they sent me out. I was little Johnny, whatever you need. I was a little ass kissing, guy. And they sent me out to fucking Lexington to paint rubber paint on the fucking the broadcast building because it was leaking and we were going off air. So I go out there.
Like the fact that you said you're Johnny what you need.
Yeah.
We're going to kiss some ass wherever you go.
I was, man. I had stock and fucking lip balm, man.
So
Sorry, but I go out. I'm painting this damn thing. It's like 100 and fuck. It's gross as shit. There's nothing out. I'm in the middle of like the ending of 7. You know, it's like fucking.
oh God. What's in the box?
Yeah, I'm like, what fucking box am I in?
So, but what do you do? Why are you out there? What the fuck are you doing?
The fucking building with all the broadcast equipment at the tower was leaking, so it was losing power. We fucking burning shit up.
So you had to get out there and do something.
Yeah, I had to go fucking fix it. So I'm out there painting this shit with like rubber pool paint.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh, this is gonna be good. I get so many fucking brownie points for this. I'm gonna have goddamn morning drive before we know it.
You saved the station.
Yes.
You're out there and
I
you're
was
doing
solely responsible for rock and roll in Kansas City.
That's right.
I get back to the station covered in this shit, sweat and fucking mouse turds or whatever, and the fucking PD had gotten fired.
The program director.
The boss,
Right.
the boss of the DJs was fired. And I'm like, son of a bitch, man! I've been kissing this fucking guy's ass for 6 months, working my nuts off,
And now his ass is gone.
and I was pissed. I was mad, but I had already befriended one of the overnight jocks, and he was in the. I just kind of resigned myself to fuck it. I'll just start over. I was kind of, I don't know. It was almost kind of relieving in a sense.
Right.
I didn't have to worry. He was in there cutting some promo spots, and I went in the studio with him. We were starting to fuck around, and I didn't know this, but in the phone, the PD can listen to any room in the fucking building.
Oh.
So the new PD
Ew.
was listening to us jerking around in the fucking prod studio.
Oh, shit.
He comes in, knocks on the door. He's like, hey, I want you guys in my office. I'm like, son of a bitch. I went from not only impressing this motherfucker to I'm going to get fired. He calls us in there. He's like, I was listening to what you guys were doing in there. And I'm like, fuck.
Like, what were you,
I'm like,
what were you
I
guys doing?
I don't even remember. I mean, this was like the summer that South Park came out, so we were probably trying to fucking fake some of that shit. And we were just being real vulgar. We kind of made our name for making some raunchy shit and just barely beeping it.
Right.
So we were edgy, you know.
Right.
And anyway, he's like, I heard what you guys were doing, and my heart just fucking fell down on my balls. I'm like, God damn it, I've been working so hard. And he's like, I decided I want you guys to be a tandem show on Saturday nights starting this week. I'm like, this is Thursday or some shit. And I'm like, fuck.
And who were you with? Who was the guy
The guy's name was Roach. It was Roach and Sumo. It was every Saturday
wow.
night. We had a show from 6 to midnight, which was kind of a like what you guys do, riffing off each other.
So you think you're fucked, then you go in there, but he liked what he heard and it was funny.
It was a good fuck.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So he puts us on the air, and that first night, he's like, basically the rule is he does the George Carlin. Don't say, shit, piss, cunt, fuck, cock.
Yeah.
That's all you can not do.
Okay, so I've been wanting to do this on the podcast. So the George Carlin, rat shit, bat shit, dirty old twat, 69 assholes tied in a knot, hooray, lizard shit, fuck. That's from a George Carlin concert. I've always wanted to say that into
That
a
is
microphone.
a direct quote.
Bucket list done. Check it off. Go
Check.
ahead. Richie's so fucking confused right now, by the way. George Carlin, tremendous comedic talent. So
Funny guy.
Right.
Anyway, we're on the air this first show, and I'm fucking shitting my pants. I'm so nervous. I'm not talking. I'm like one word guy. Like, yeah, you're just being a total failure.
right.
And he's going to break. He's like, dude, you gotta help me out. We're gonna fucking die if you don't start fucking interacting.
I've been
here."
there.
Yeah, and I'm like, all right, I don't know. And I was reading one of the trade magazines in there, and it was something about like Zach De La Roca from Rage Against the Machine partnered with Ford on the new Explorer campaign. I'm like, what the fuck? So I decided I got a story I can read. This will get me talking. So we come out of it, and he's like, hey, I got this story, and he kind of sets me up, and I go to talk about it. And he goes, where are you getting your fucking facts, basically? He's like calling me out. He knows I'm reading this shit, but he's hammering it up for, radio. Like, I don't believe you, you're full of shit. And I looked at him like he had just fucking sold me out. And I go, yeah, I made the whole fucking thing up. And he goes, nice. And instantly hit a song. The fucking light goes up. The program director calls in. He's like, hey, guys. We're like, hey.
Yeah.
He's like, how's it going? We're like, oh, it's going so good. Couldn't be better. He goes, Sumo. I'm like, yeah. He goes, don't say fuck on my radio.
Right.
I go,
That's
okay,
right.
man. But after that, it was cool, and I loosened up. But no, the trash can. Shortly after that, I was still barely getting solo shifts. We had the company Christmas party at a place I won't name down in Kansas City. And
Okay.
I went down there and ate some dinner, and then I had to hustle ass and get back and run the show. So they're all partying it up and drinking, and I made a little plate to go, and I'm eating it, and I go back to work, and I got fucking food poisoning.
Oh, no.
And it was that kind where you know something bad is going to happen.
Right.
I looked like I was going to die, but I didn't have time. Back then it was CD each way, so you had to literally change songs.
You can't play Stairway to Heaven. And
Well, I had a couple that I'd found in there. There was a Jane's Addiction song that was about 8 minutes.
Play November Rain and come back later.
3 Days by Jane's Addiction.
Right.
If you ever need a cigarette or to shit, cue that one up. So I could just feel it, man. I'm sitting there. I've got that song ready to go, and fucking Everclear or whatever won't end. I'm standing there at that board like that fucking Daily Struggle meme where the guy's like wiping sweat, can't pick which button to hit. I'm fucking dying. And it's just like time is stopping. It's not fucking happening. I've got Everclear fucking going. I'm about to shit my pants. And I'm like, holy shit, this is not how I die. Not today, Satan. So I fucking look down and there's a goddamn trash basket. And I just picked that motherfucker up and I fucking just, I let it go. I Jackson Pollocked all over this fucking thing, man.
No.
So then I'm like, holy shit, this is literally the worst moment of my fucking life and my dream job. I'm fucking done.
But hidden in all these bad feelings, there has to be a tremendous sense of relief that
my God.
Right? You're not holding this bag anymore.
Yeah, it was better than losing my virginity, I think. I was so mad. So I got this damn trash can full of remorse and doubt, and I'm looking. I know I'm the only one in the fucking building. I know this, but I'm still looking around like I'm on camera. I'm like, I know somebody's got me on this shit. There goes my chance at politics, So I fucking get Jane's Addiction on. I try to clean everything up, and I'm going out and I'm like, well, I don't want this to be in the fucking dumpster. Someone's gonna see my shit in the fucking trash bag. It was like a clear bag. I'm like, so what? So I put it in my fucking car.
Oh no! Why?
I was not thinking clearly. I had food poisoning. I just shit in a wastebasket. I was 21 years old. I made a mistake.
At least there's plausible deniability in the dumpster. You say, I don't know.
Yeah, it wasn't me.
My head
Some
wasn't
dude
in a
threw it
good spot.
Right,
So
right.
I put this.
Your
I put
ass
this
wasn't
shit,
in a good spot,
I
apparently.
put this bag of shit in my Geo, and I drove it down the street after my shift was over, and I threw it away in like a quick trip by the pump.
Oh
So
my
yeah,
God.
I fucking, and after that, I was like, I was no longer nervous about shit. I kind of, literally, I got better at it because things seemed like way less important after you shit in a trash can.
It seems like you had faced the worst case scenario. You'd come out okay on the other side, and you were good. So right, and that'll help you. Okay.
I love that gig. It was a fun job, man. We got going real well. I was on 7 days a week after that. Not after the shitting, but eventually I worked my way up and I was on there. But, the story in radio, some consultant from 6 states away comes in and looks at the market and says, this is what your city needs. So they fired all of us and they flipped formats. But luckily, Stan from the Hurricane had a weekly show out there, and we'd gotten to be friends over the years. And he was like, come work for me. I'll put you, you won't lose any money. Come on out. And he gave me a job at the Hurricane and changed my life, corrupted me forever.
Any chance that at the Uptown you could shit in a trash can for the people that pay their hard-earned money to watch you on the night before Thanksgiving?
Or I can, I guess shit in that bag and we can put lights on it and have Lezak hit the switch.
Yeah, 5, 4, 3, 2, hey. Okay. I don't even know what we're talking about now. But
we've gotten a little.
That's right, but it's good. Richie's like, why did you have me come in here? So, okay, hey, I hope that sells a few tickets. I think it might. So Richie, Mike was open enough to tell the story about shitting in a trash can, and now this has given you the confidence. You say that you have a story that maybe that Sumo can relate to, something similar, which is horrifying me because as your father, I have no idea what you're about to say. What have you got here?
Yeah, it's so. This his story really just unlocked it in my head. I buried it for a while. Yeah. So sorry to anybody who went to St. Gabe's, first of all. Well, I mean,
by the way, we still got kids there. Your sister still go there, and you were a teacher there, so let's
paid for it.
Okay, there we go.
Okay, it wasn't at St. Gabe's. All right, at least you can sleep well at night for that. But we were on one of those retreats that they take us on. I forget what it was for, confirmation or something like that. Right. I don't know. But we were like in middle school or something.
Glad to see that high-priced education's really stuck with you. Go
ahead.
Yep,
Absolutely.
Right.
But they had, of course, the boys separated from the girls, and we were just doing anything possible that we could to just torture the girls, right?
Right.
I was just a bystander. I was just wrapped up in this whole thing. I have no idea.
Okay. Jesus. Go ahead.
But we were trying to just mess with them. We're middle school boys. That's just what we do. Just the usual thing, throwing things at their window and stuff like that. So someone got the idea, hey, what would be a really good thing to throw at their window? Shit.
I don't think this is similar to his story at all, but go ahead.
Well, it has a similar theme, right?
So shit, but I mean,
there's Dookie.
Right, go ahead.
So somebody grabs a waste basket, right? A trash can
Okay, here
with a clear trash bag in it. See, there you go.
Right.
It's been so long ago, I can't.
Don't tell me you're the one that's shitting it.
Well, I can't exactly remember who did it. I think I was too
so it sounds like
shy.
you may have been, right? So what happened?
I'm a shy pooper. I don't know if I would be able to do that in front of a room full of boys.
By the way, that kind of sounds like a good band name, Shy Pooper. I'd go see them.
He was in Transformers.
Right.
Peanut Butter
So
Falcon.
I'm a very modest man.
So then what happened?
Well, somebody who I cannot remember or disclose does eventually shit in the wastebasket, ties it up in the trash bag, and throws it at the open window.
The window was open.
Yes.
This is
the fuck?
That's a bioweapon.
And then what happened?
Well, they didn't like that very much, as you can imagine. I don't think they appreciated it, which I found personally insulting.
Like Cubs fans, throw it back. Throw it back.
So, I mean, from there, I think they just got fed up, told the teacher. They came up and like, what is going on up here? What are you guys doing? We're like, I don't know. We don't know what happened. What are you talking about? It wasn't us.
Well,
I don't.
I swear
What
to
are you
shit,
talking
he just
about?
unlocked another fucking shit story that I forgot about.
Uh-oh.
okay, finish it off.
Well, the thing in the radio station wasn't malicious. It was just,
Right.
I've been haunted.
You were a victim of circumstance.
Yeah, it was not I was a victim.
Right.
Yeah.
That's
I would
right.
like to make a plea that I was also a victim of
Yeah,
circumstance.
it sounds like
I was just
And
there.
so what happened?
I was DJing down in Columbia, Missouri. This place hired me to go down there and DJ this club, and they put me up in a hotel. It was a Ramada Inn, and I don't think I checked in until like 3:30, 4 in the morning. After getting done,
Sure.
I get to the hotel. It's like 4 in the morning. I check in. I go to sleep, and they fucking wake me up at 10 to get out. I'm like, what? I just checked in, and they're like, sorry, the checkout's at 10.
Fuck that.
I go, get fucked. I'm not leaving. And they're like, man, they're going to charge you if you don't leave. So I'm like, fuck off. So I'm getting my shit. I'm pissed off. And I'm like, fuck these guys. So I open up the goddamn top drawer and I shit in it. that was a bad choice.
You shit in the
I
top
shit in the
drawer
fucking
and
drawer.
you fucking-
I had to shit. I was pissed. I was like, they're cleaning this
Not
up.
malicious at all.
I'm getting the money's worth.
Boy, there's going to be a lot of shit going on in the Uptown Theater the night before Thanksgiving.
No, I won't shit.
So one more question I have about weird shit, right? What's the weirdest fucking thing you've seen at a Dolomite show from someone in the crowd, either during or after? And please don't let it be me, because I know you've seen me do some weird shit over the years. What's like something that like, wow, I may never see that again at a fucking Dolomite show.
Man, I don't know that there's been anything terribly weird. I mean, you're playing fucking suburban bar and grills
Right.
for the most part.
I don't know. That's what
Yeah. As soon as it left my mouth, I realized. Just it's the sea of humanity.
Right.
Especially me sitting up high in the back. I get to take it all in. And the funniest is when you see the girl that just thinks she's hot shit up there dancing all seductive, and then there's just a row of women behind her judging the fuck out of her.
Now that's
fucking
suburban
funny.
Kansas
Yeah.
City. Yes, it is.
And, I mean, she's going for the gold, and the chicks are behind her, just like, look at this bitch. And you can just see the internal dialogue.
never
happening.
fails.
She's looking for 10s, and they're all holding up 2s and 3s.
The people that fall down, that some dickhead's always jumping up on stage to have his moment, and he fucking eats shit. It's like, all right, way to go, butthole.
If you'd like to be unfairly judged or eat shit, come out to the Uptown Theater the night before Thanksgiving. I don't think I want to hear any more stories about.
I have a really good one.
What do you have?
Okay. So
Fuck.
I didn't cause this at all. So you can
Okay.
this is a good story. Well, for me. So we were playing a gig up in a small town called Easton, right? Way up there, a little not too far from St. Joe, isn't it? A little bit
culturally,
east of it.
I have no idea what you're talking about, but go ahead.
Right.
Good bats.
It was an old gig with minor rewinds.
Okay.
They're somewhat towards the end.
All right.
So the first time we had played there was like this whole bar clearing brawl, right? And the police were called and all this and that, but then it got settled and we continued the show. That's not too crazy. But the second time we go there, The owner's like, oh, so were you guys weren't going to come back after that because that was such an ordeal. But I promise, nothing's going to happen this time. From that moment, I knew that something was going to happen because she went out of her way to say that. So we do actually get through the show without a hitch, right? It's fine, just a normal show. But afterwards, everyone leaves. We're packing out. We're throwing stuff in our cars and just getting ready to make like the hour trek home or something. And this dude in a big giant GMC truck or something comes down the road, and it's a small little narrow two-way road, and it's the type where you're parking diagonally on the street. And our drummer Dax is parked diagonally on the street in front of the bar. The guy is coming the opposite way and tries to pull a very sharp U-turn on this road that's barely bigger than his truck. And Dax has his driver back door open, right? And the guy comes barreling around on this U-turn and hits his door and just hyperextends it, right? It bends completely the wrong way.
Right.
Oh, fuck.
And that would be enough to make it an awful story. But he backs out to try and attempt this again, right? Try and turn his way down the road.
He hasn't had enough, so he's going to fucking do it again. He hasn't had enough,
right? Yeah. So, take two. He pulls out, goes back in, hits the door again, full on, and bends it the wrong way. So he's going to try again because, he's got to get out of there now. Now he's in trouble. So he pulls out again and then back into the door. And then he pulls out again, back into the door. And he pulls out again.
What the fuck?
And this time he makes it. And he's facing the right way on the road where he was trying to go. But our bassist is standing in front of him.
Fucking bass player again.
The bassist causing problems. Is standing in front of him. He's like, hey, you can't go anywhere. You just, wrecked his car. You can't just leave and speed off.
Right.
Dax is just standing there with a giant kick drum, just watching this whole thing go on. He's just dead in the eyes. He's like, yep.
And that was it.
No, it was not. That's not even the worst part. So,
But wait.
There's more.
You're right.
So our bassist is standing in front of this truck, and he's trying to inch around him, right? The truck tries to inch around him over a little bit to the left, so the bassist steps in front of him, and he's like, you're not going anywhere. And that continues for a little bit, but he just skids off, finally gets around him, speeds off. But our bassist hasn't had enough, right? He has vengeance in his eyes. He's sprinting down the road, somehow keeping up with the truck. He had some superhuman ability that night, and he's banging on the side of it. He's like, hey, stop, come back here. Loses his footing and grabs his passenger back door, grabs the handle, rips it off, but then falls onto the road and falls head first right onto the concrete, right onto the pavement, right? And, and it splits his head open all over the place. Rockstar life, that's just kind of what you deal with as a musician.
Did the guy stop?
No. No, he kept on going.
He just tawanded.
Yeah. So,
took off.
We bring him back and we call the paramedics, we call the police because, his head's open. Our guitarist, Andy, ends up going with him to the hospital. And he was fine, right? I think he had to get some staples or something in his head, but it healed fine, It wasn't a whole ordeal.
And also, if Staples, if you'd like to, if you'd like to advertise, this would be a nice way I could talk about Staples.
Yeah, you guys do a bang-up job.
And so, is that the end of the story?
No. Nothing else awful happens, right? Actually, one more thing does. I call you to be like, all of this just happened. Okay. What do I do? How do I handle this? What do I do? Give me some fatherly advice here. And you're on the phone with me, and this guy in the truck comes back to the bar, and he just walks in, and he just goes to the back, uses the bathroom or something, and comes back out. And
what you're not saying, he walks into the bar and shits in the trash can.
He might have. I don't know what he did in that bathroom.
So then what happens?
Well, he just leaves, and someone was supposed to stop him. I was on the phone with you. I didn't even see him come in. I found this out after the fact, but, nobody stops him from leaving. He gets in his truck and leaves again. And the owner is like, I think I might know that guy. It's a small town. Everyone knows each other. He was in the bar all that night bragging about his brand new GMC Arctic White truck. Right? Something like that. And she's like, I think I might know who this guy is. Give me a sec. She goes over to the computer behind the bar, looks him up, and there he is, posing all proud with his brand new truck, the exact one that wrecked our drummer's car. And he wasn't hard to find. Again, it's a small town, and he's the only one in a brand new pickup truck that's missing a handle now. But we had to take a bungee cord and forcibly at least try and mostly close our drummer's door on that hour-long trip back. And
So you got home and there was no altercation and everything worked out. No shitting in trash cans. And boy, that's a lot of excitement. See, there, as you could see, if you're thinking about missing this show at the Uptown Theater, God only fucking knows what could happen with the Accidental Moguls featuring my son Richie St. John and, of course, Dolomite, which is the best party band in Kansas City. So get your tickets now because you don't know what the fuck you might miss.
And if you come, how about don't drink and drive? Avoid that whole.
That's right.
And call an Uber, call a Lyft, and Uber and Lyft. If you would like to promote this show, please let us know.
Look how responsible my son is. By the way, stay away from that trash can. Keep that on that side of the fucking
I've been
room.
eyeballing it. It's a safe distance. I don't think I can make
Yeah,
it in
you
time.
keep looking at that like you're.
Yeah, I'm scared to be standing in between him and that basket over there.
That's all right.
So, yeah, how I got started, how I got connected to that was, of course, I was working at School of Rock. We had a studio coordinator at the time by the name of Larry, and he's mutual friends with Todd. I guess they've known each other for quite a while.
Todd Owen, who's the drummer
yes,
of
Todd
the
Owen.
Accidental Moguls.
And he was just like, hey, my buddy needs a keyboardist for his band. And I was like, well, okay, that's all I need to hear. And I go, yeah.
Sold.
Yeah, done.
Done. So I just go and audition for him, and it really wasn't that much of a process, just immediately, they liked me. They gave me a certain list of songs to learn beforehand to play for them, and I put in my work, and I learned them all really well. So, they could just see I worked hard, I could play, and I was easy to get along with. I wasn't going to be a diva and break up the band and just cause problems in general. So
you're no Yoko St. John, are you?
No.
And so, but the point of this is, and so like I'm your dad, and clearly I'm going to talk to you. But this is what I say when people ask, does he get his musical talent from you? No. But what I've tried to impress upon you is one thing there's always going to be someone more talented. There's going to be somebody that has maybe better connections, but there's one thing you can control is your fucking work ethic. You can outwork anyone, and that's all up to you. And that's the one thing that I'm most proud of about you is you have a tremendous work ethic. When they say you have to learn all these songs, you lock yourself in a fucking room until you learn all these songs, and you do, and you love what you do, right? And so that's half the battle. And so, like, Mike, for you, and you've dealt with enough fucking bullshit. You don't want divas. You don't want people that are fighting over the spotlight. For him, what he offers, he plays guitar, he plays keyboard, he plays bass, background vocals. Now you're actually doing some lead singing and stuff. You'll do whatever it takes to make the band successful. And for you, having dealt with all the shit you have, you're looking for someone that just, at the end of the day, they want to make the band sound good, and they have a tremendous work ethic, and that's what it's all about when you get done with all the bullshit, right?
Right, 100%. As long as you got to be able to work with the person. It's a fucking marriage. I mean, you're going to spend some weird amounts of time together, so you're kind of just thrown into this relationship that hopefully is working.
And that reputation,
yeah.
If you're a diva and if you're a dickhead to work with, that, and then this Kansas City's a big small town,
right?
They'll know, and then pretty soon nobody want to work with you, right?
Yeah.
And so you're with the Accidental Moguls, and now you're lead guitarist. You do some lead singing and background vocals. Tell me a little bit about the band now as it is that we'll see at the Uptown Theater.
Well, I feel like our vibe sort of lines up with Dolomite. Right, you play really fun music, dance music, 80s hip hop, and everything. And we might touch on some of the same songs that we have in our full sets, and we'll try not to upstage you on any of those.
Okay.
We'll stay away from those.
Thank you.
But it's party music, it's dance music. Anything. It really the decade doesn't matter. Anything from the 70s all the way up to today. As long as it's poppy and it's fun. Michael Jackson to Bruno Mars. Nicki Minaj, Cardi B.
Some of the songs that you sing.
Oh,
Remix to Ignition, that's my favorite
right.
one that you sing.
Remix to Ignition. I get more into the sort of pop punk side of things. I'll do some Green Day, right? Some When I Come Around. I'll do All the Small Things, which is a crowd favorite. I like that one.
And for you, your sound check, which is one of my fucking favorite things, one of my favorite songs, you sing Wishing Well. by Terrence Trent D'Arby, and you have to hear enough from people that love that shit. Have you ever wanted to incorporate that into the show because you get so much feedback from that? Because people get there early to hear the sound check just to hear you do Wishing Well.
It's crazy that it's been so kind of well received. That was one that Planet B did, one of the few covers that we did back in the day, and I want to say we were tearing down after a night show, and I was singing it. And the sound guy was like, I'll fucking give you $1,000 if you pull that shit off. And I'm like, dude, we used to do it. He's like, no. I'm like, yeah. So we did it at soundcheck. And it just kind of stuck. I mean, it's a song that has kind of a little bit of everything that we do in it. DJ's got a chance to check his shit to open it up. Drums, vocals. My vocals aren't on every song, so it's a good way to check that. Melissa's there backing me, so it's checking her. Tommy's got keyboards and guitar going on that one. And then we make sure that Flanny, the lead vocalist, busts in there during the little breakdown. So it's just kind of a nice little well-rounded way to check everything's in line. But it has gotten popular. It's fucking weird. But no, it's never, I just don't know if it vibes right with the show. Once you get going, we're kind of at a certain altitude. It's kind of hard to be like, hey.
Give us a couple of songs that are on the set list that we'll hear at the Uptown.
Well, yeah, man, we're going to hit all of them hard and fast. We're going to do, you got Tricky by Run DMC, Jump Around, House of Pain. Those are always huge. We got some Beastie Boys. We'll do everybody's favorite, Candyman.
Yeah, that's right.
Shit, man, I'm drawing a blank.
You got some new shit you're working on?
Maybe.
Okay, so you don't want to say it, but nothing but a G thing's always, right? That's a staple.
We're going to we're bringing up a guest on a couple of songs. I don't know if you remember, but a few years ago when the Foo Fighters were in town, this little fucking kid up in the rafters holds a sign. Collier. He gets up there and he starts playing fucking Metallica with the Foo Fighters.
Yeah.
He's coming. He's going to come play a couple songs with us.
That's fucking awesome.
He's a little bad motherfucker.
That's great. I've loved those videos went viral. That's incredible.
He's a cool little kid, man. I've seen him. I played with him for the first time. I was probably 6 months before that show at a Prince tribute out at Knuckleheads. It was a bunch of musicians that got together.
I remember that.
And Collier was out there, and I got to see him, and I'm like, Jesus, look at this little.
And how old's he?
I don't know how old he is now. I think he's a little older than me, of course.
It's fucking crazy.
Yeah, he's still young, man. He's still a kid. But no, he's crazy talented. He's got a shitload of people that, help him out and support him. His mom's fucking uber cool behind him. His grandparents. He's got teachers.
That's awesome.
He's learning drums from the baddest motherfucker on the planet right now, Go-Go Ray, who used to be in Billy Goat. And he's got it down. He's got the work ethic. He's putting in the hours. So he's gonna come out. We're gonna party with him and you guys, man. That was a blast. The last time we played with them at the Grinder show.
And how many people showed up at the Grinder show at the beginning of summer?
I heard it was 1,800 something.
It was fucking unbelievable.
Yeah.
Accidental Moguls opened up. You guys killed it. It was one of the best live shows I've been to, and that's kind of where it started. Like, hey, let's do this again.
Yeah.
And Sports Radio 810 presents it along with CBD American Shaman at the Uptown the night before Thanksgiving. Tickets on sale now at Ticketmaster. And again, I'll say this. Like, having seen you guys so many times, I tell people, you go and you just can't help but to have a great time. It's a party. And
just go empty stomach.
Right. Well, that's exactly right. And so again, before we end the podcast, for someone that hasn't seen Dolomite, and you're going to tell them, okay, this is what to expect, and they're on the fence right now, and I just say it's a fucking party from beginning to end. It's songs that you know, songs that you love. Your stage presence and everything about you guys is just fucking awesome, and the energy's so high you can't help but to fucking feel like you're a part of the show.
Right.
And so that's why I love you guys so much. What can someone expect from a Dolomite show that's never been there before?
You pretty much encapsulated everything we try to do. It's always been, like I said, we made sure that it's the new oldies. Like, people don't realize that old school hip hop, basically anybody like 55 and under had this shit in their life at some point.
Right.
Quite a big portion of your life. I mean, none of us were, crazy hip hop heads, but you get back in there and we're learning this shit. And not to mention some of the songs that they sampled were crazy staple hits too. So
sure.
To tweak that stuff, I mean, we made sure that we've got the music down tight. So it's got the same kind of sensibilities as a rock and roll show. It's, it's high energy. It's all live music. There's no backtracks or anything like that. And it's 6 people just going hard as we fucking can throughout the whole deal. It doesn't work well if the crowd's not involved, so we rely heavily on crowd participation.
Oh, we'll be involved.
Yes.
And I mean, I've seen you post some pictures of your hands. You beat the fuck out of those drums.
That comes from not knowing how to play fucking drums, I'm sure. I never knew how to hold them right. So yeah, I look like a leper by the end of the weekend. But
one thing I didn't ask you, who would you, if somebody asked you who's your biggest musical influences, and you don't have to say the people that I love just to make me happy, but because I want to know this. honestly, who are your greatest musical influences that you look to for inspiration, that you love, that make you want to be a better musician?
Easily the first one would be Prince. That's just an easy question.
That's a fucking home run answer right there, sir.
I mean, when it just comes to just as a musician, of course, because everyone knows he was supremely talented. He could play almost 30 instruments. And
are there 30 instruments?
Yeah, that's right. I mean, what the fuck? I didn't even know there were 30 instruments.
How many of them are basses?
Right, but and that's someone that your grandmother loved,
Absolutely.
that I loved. I saw Prince. I was lucky enough to see him 5 times in concert. And that's when we talked about growing up with the music that I exposed you to. He was right there at the top of the list. So Prince, or who else?
It's very hard to say. I mean, I draw a lot of inspiration from Prince, right? That's really a primary
Like Jack
thing.
White in the way you play guitar
Well,
and some of the things.
Jack White, and that's sort of very riff-heavy rock.
Right.
It's just, not to harp on it too much, just Prince, just as a person, as a musician, as a personality, just and how he was able to just constantly evolve throughout the
Prince could do anything.
Yeah.
Whatever he could do it all.
Because,
right?
I mean, when he started out with his first albums, they were very of the time. They were kind of 70 disco-y kind of funk stuff. And then you get to Purple Rain, and of course, it's just drenched in 80s.
Changed the damn world.
Oh, yeah. But, changed the entire world. And then he evolves from there. Then, you can probably pick back up at Musicology. And you saw him on tour for that.
Sure.
How many times?
Well,
how many times have you seen him? He's usually like 4 or
5.
5.
I remember I saw him in just one of the more interesting shows when he played at the Midland. It was an intimate show. He didn't do a whole lot of his hits. He did like a medley of some of his hits, but it was just the whole 2 hours like, holy shit, I'm watching something that's just fucking incredible, right? And so for people that haven't seen the Accidental Moguls, describe what they're going to see at the Uptown the night before Thanksgiving.
Like I said, it's kind of the same vibe as Dolomite. All we want is for people to have fun, right? We want to have fun on stage, and that happens by people having fun in the audience. It's a give and take. So we just want people to dance. We want them to have fun, enjoy themselves. Forget about anything they've been going through. Just have a good time.
And it's like you said, it's a night, and this was a St. Joe show that you did the night before Thanksgiving, and you kind of outgrew the room that you were in.
Yeah.
And so this has been kind of like your tradition in St. Joe that you're bringing to Kansas City, and hopefully a bunch of people from St. Joe are going to come down and be at the Uptown, right?
Yeah, we've always done it with some friends of ours, another band up there called Blue Oyster Culture Club, and they're fucking awesome. It's like if Metallica was doing Rick Springfield songs. It's all heavy-ass guitar and 80s new wave shit. So they're great.
That just made me horny, by the way.
It did. Another music boner.
Right, thank you.
But yeah, ideally, we'll be bringing them down and getting them down here on some of these if this can take off. And we do more of these in the future. But yeah, St. Joe just kind of outgrew it. It was getting to where these places we were playing the shows were these fucking bingo halls. These big ass fucking places, and no one can get a drink. It takes you 4 hours to pee. It was just kind of. It got to where it was more trouble than it was worth. So we had to look for the progression, and this was an opportunity that was kind of put in front of us, and I couldn't turn it down. So,
Richie, to make the show a success, if Mike won't do it, would you be willing to shit in a trash can on stage at the Uptown Theater the night before Thanksgiving?
I'll do anything for the art.
This kid knows what to do to try to make his name in Kansas City. Uptown Theater, tell people again where to get tickets and everything that we need to know.
Ticketmaster. You can get tickets on Ticketmaster. I know that we've got a link posted to our Facebook. There'll be some more. I'm sure we'll be beating everybody over the head with the social medias. And
how do you spell Dolomite for those out there that'll fuck it up?
Dolewite.
And the Accidental Moguls, you have a website, theaccidentalmoguls.com, right?
Yes.
Okay.
We also have a Facebook page.
And so the night before Thanksgiving, come out. I'm going to be there. A bunch of the people from Sports Radio 810 are going to be there. And you get your tickets now, so you don't have to wait because there'll be a line. Because like you said, a lot of people just used to showing up at a bar going to see Dolomite.
Right.
You get there, you don't want to wait in line out there. You want to get in there, get some samples from CD American Shaman, go get your drink on, get your nice buzz flowing, and get ready to, and let's be honest, Thanksgiving's great, but some of you have to deal with some family you don't want to deal with. So get your mind right with Dolomite and the Accidental Moguls the night before, right?
Yes.
Cannot wait to the night before Thanksgiving at the Uptown Theater, the Accidental Moguls with Richie St. John, Dolomite led by their fearless leader, Sumo, and no shitting in trash cans, we don't think, unless we have to. My name's Stephen St. John. This has been Hot Mike with SSJ. The microphone is off.